Hey, what's going on, YouTube? So, today we actually have Tom McDonald's album announcement, so I want to react to this. I was waiting to see if he came out with a music video for today, but he didn't. He came out with this. I don't know if you all have or not, but I already went in and copped my albums. I set up to have them signed and all that. Whenever that package gets here, I will do a live reaction to unboxing it so y'all can check out and see what all came in it. But I want to check this out, and I want to check it out with you all because he's going to be announcing what all he went through to make the albums and everything. And with me wanting to do a reaction to the whole CDs, both CDs, I wanted to kind of hear what he had to say about all this. So I hope you all enjoy this video. It's going to be a little bit calmer and a little bit more of me talking, but let's go ahead and jump right into this to see what Tom has to say about the dropping of both of his albums and what we are going to be able to expect from his albums. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into this and see what Tom has to say.
My two new albums, Renegade and The Revolution, just dropped, and the only place in the world you can get them is hangovergang.com. I can't even
Which I already did.
That because it almost killed me, and I'm going to tell you all about it. But first, let me just say this is not an album and a mixtape. For the first time ever, this is two albums. Two full albums at the same time.
Which I am so excited for. I'm very excited. I don't know if you all have copped yours yet, but I'm very excited to get them so I can hear everything that he had to say in this.
For the first time ever, this is two albums. Two full albums at the same time. 34 songs. This took me to the edge, to be completely and brutally honest. I almost gave up altogether. And this is the absolute last time that I ever dropped two projects at once. These two new albums took more out of me than I will ever possibly be able to get back. Every album that I work on comes with an incredible amount of pressure. Pressure to live up to the last album, pressure to live up to people's expectations, pressure to exceed my own, pressure to just be better. And after my Us Against the World album last year and massive songs like Fake Woke and Snowflakes and Dear Slim, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do it. I had reached the very peak of the independent musician mountain. And when there's nobody else to compete with, how do you begin to compete with yourself? When you're on top of the world, where do you go from there? Being at the top is an extremely stressful place to be in because more often than not, there's only one direction for people to go, and that's down. They fall off. In most cases, your only option is to accept that you can't get any higher. I couldn't accept that, though. I had to go higher. Even if it killed me, I had to go higher.
All right, one thing I want to touch on. I know I'm pausing this a lot, but I do want to touch on this a little bit. I feel for Tom on this. He did all of this in 11 months. He did two full CDs in 11 months. And I don't think people understand how extreme that is, because doing a CD a year on top of how many other hits that he does is already insane. But I mean, most artists won't drop a CD for 3, 4, 5 years, and then they finally drop a new CD, and he came out with two in 11 months. And the only other person in the independent scene who's done what he's doing has been Tech Nine. And I don't know if you all really know a whole lot about Tech Nine, but being from Kansas City, he's literally the talk of the town. And he did it all on his own. Strange Music is his infrastructure. He does everything through Strange Music and has built an entire empire. And watching Tom and Nova go through this, I feel for him. I cannot believe the amount of stress that he was probably under dealing with this. And my heart reaches out to him, especially going through all this stuff that he went through with the alcoholism and everything else. And Brandon being there to help him out. I've been reading up a little bit more about that whole situation. I can guarantee that helped him a lot. But I mean, just having Nova by his side the entire time has been probably the best thing for him because she helps him with everything. But I mean, we feel for you, Tom. We greatly appreciate what you've done, but do remember that your health means more to us than, you know, the ability to massively produce more music. You're not going to fall off. Your following behind you is absolutely insane. And to those of you all who have found me so far, it's greatly appreciated. My channel's seen more growth in the past month than it's seen in 2 years. But I feel so much for him. I hope after this he takes a little bit of a break. I know he's going to keep doing his music videos every 2 weeks like he always does, but I hope he takes a step back and just take some time to breathe a little bit, because this is an accomplishment that most people will never do. But we'll go ahead and get back into this.
I had to go higher. Even if it killed me, I had to go higher. I figured out how to build a ladder on top of a mountain, and every single day I added more rungs to that ladder and more rungs to that ladder, and I just kept climbing, and I just kept pushing myself, and I just refused to go down. I refused to fall off. This is a very scary confession to make, but I almost quit when I was recording these albums.
I heard about that.
And not like a moment of frustration where you like throw your hands up in the air and just walk away from something for a moment. I mean, I actually almost really, actually for real quit. Quit like calling my parents in tears because the process was unbearable. Quit like collapsing in Nova's arms because I was absolutely, totally exhausted. Quit like screaming to my best friend Brandon on the phone for hours because I wanted to do something impossible.
That's exactly how I figured that was.
And I was afraid that I'd fail. I wanted everything to be so good. I wanted it to exceed everything that I've ever done by such a great distance that it was impossible to even make a comparison. It had to be better than Us Against the World, and better than Gravestones, and better than Ghost Stories, and better than Death Threats. I had to make these albums the best. And if I couldn't, what was the point? It took me a little while to figure out how to do it, but I did it.
And we're all very happy for you.
And I really did it. Like, I did it. And you guys are the only reason that I didn't give up. I wanted to quit so badly. I was anxious and depressed and overwhelmed and frustrated. I wanted to be gone, and I just wanted it to be over. But I couldn't leave you guys. I couldn't leave you, man. All the Hangover Gang tattoos and the kids running around in Tom Mcdonald shirts and families listening to my music, I just could not walk away. I had to find a way to push through. It's this whole journey that we've been on together, and no matter if I was fighting the music industry or dealing with anxiety and depression or whatever I was going through, you guys were at my side. And for that, I've realized that no matter how hard it gets or how much it hurts, I will never leave your side. I never told anybody this, but I lost myself after the Brave album with Adam Calhoun. It was my 9th album into an incredible non-stop 4-year run, and I was just like, what else do I have to say? What else can I give people that they haven't gotten already or that they can't get from somebody else? What else can I give people at this point? I lost who I was. And I had to find myself in a big way to make these 2 new albums possible. I had to approach my music in an entirely new way, from a different angle, with a new process, in a different headspace. Because sometimes you get caught up in being this like viral sensation and the train comes off the tracks a little bit. And I wanted to get back to my roots as an artist with these 2 new albums. I wanted to reapproach and reinvent and refresh everything. And I'm so thankful that I did exactly that.
That's another thing a lot of people won't realize about this whole process is doing this independently. He's not getting all the creative ideas and everything funneled into him. This is all him and Nova. And I mean, listening to how passionate he is about the fact that these albums took so much out of him, it just makes me more excited to hear what he had to say in it, because I've heard what he had to say when he's having fun. I've heard what he's had to say whenever he's pissed off about something. And hearing where his music is kind of turning into now, and talking about the fact that he felt like he was locked in and felt like he was drowning and dealing with anxiety and depression, like, I can only imagine what he has to say on this. I have a feeling that these are literally going to be his best albums he's ever come out with, just by the trend of where the music's been coming in the past couple of months. But I really, really, really hope that he takes a little bit of time for himself and takes a little bit of a mental break, because he sounds like he was on the verge of snapping. And also, I hate to be the one to say, I kind of called how he was dealing with it, but I'm glad he at least had the support system that he had. I'm glad to see that he had Nova there with him, helping him through it. I'm glad to see that he was able to come out of his own shell and kind of lean on Brandon a bit and actually take some time and really address what's going on in his life with his friend, because it is too much in life, especially as a man. You just don't take anything away from what you're going through and try to put it on anybody else's shoulder. And it sounds like he actually leaned on Brandon a bit for this, and I'm glad to hear that he did, because without that support system, he probably wouldn't be where he's at right now. And I'm glad to hear that he sounds like he's in a better place, but I really do hope he takes a little bit of time to at least get his head right.
And I'm so I'm so thankful that I did exactly that. With my past albums, I was recording a song a day, easy, no problem. I'd make a beat in the morning, write the song in the afternoon, and record the song in the evening. And if it turned out to be a 10 out of 10, then great, perfect. And when they turned out to be a 6 out of 10, I was like, fine, that's cool. Just another song done, another song on the album. I guess I can't do any better than that. Maybe my vision wasn't totally realized, and maybe it didn't turn out exactly how I wanted to, but at least it was done. It's like I was afraid to work any harder than I already was, because I was scared that I either couldn't handle it or I wasn't capable
Puppies.
of doing
I just noticed the puppies behind him.
I did not do that this time with these two new albums. This time, everything from beats to songs to concepts to choruses to verses to flows to everything had to be 10 out of 10. It had to.
Oh, I'm
The only
excited.
way to make the best album of my life, a career-defining album, was to put myself through hell and pray to God that I could handle it. And because of that attitude, every drop of sweat, every drop of blood, every tear, every smile, every feeling, every idea, every thought, everything from the past year is wrapped up in these 34 songs on these two new albums. These new albums, things that were taking me a day before, were taking me 4 days now. I was paying such close attention to even the smallest detail. I made everything bigger and louder and more intense and more gut-wrenching and more complex and just better. It's the best that I've ever done. I feel like I evolved as a rapper and as a producer and as a person. I poured in more heart and showed more soul and gave more of me to these albums than I ever thought was possible. I spent days making one section of a beat, and I spent days writing and rewriting and perfecting beats and perfecting messaging and perfecting flows and perfecting every aspect of everything that I was doing. It changed the way I make music forever. I'm talking quality control with the most strict standards that I have ever implied to anything that I've ever created. Ever. And it's not even close. The whole purpose of these albums, the only reason I beat myself up so bad and put myself through so much hell, was so that the moment you press play on this album, you think, whoa, this is the best thing Tom ever did. This album was transformative for me, and I hope it's transformative for you. Music has always been an escape for me. And when you start creating it at the highest level, sometimes it starts to feel like you're on autopilot. When you're doing everything yourself, no record label, no manager, no producers, no marketing, no distribution, no songwriters, nothing, no music industry involvement at all. When you're doing everything yourself, it can start to feel like work. And music should never feel like my job. It should feel like my escape. So I had to escape music for a moment.
Music for him should feel like home. It's where he's most comfortable. Whenever he's just writing music and making videos and things like that, it is when he looks the most at home. And I could fully relate to that, being a former barber and doing video game streaming and everything else. It takes a toll once you try to give it literally every ounce of what you have. And I can't even imagine what him and Nova go through. I mean, from the packaging to all the shipping to making the CDs to mixing everything, mastering everything, recording everything, like everything is on their backs. Which means if anything starts taking too much time, there's literally nobody else to blame but themselves. And that is a dangerous place to be in whenever you have every ounce of that weight on your shoulders. But listening to the passion that he has behind these CDs, I am so excited to hear where these CDs go. This is going to be the craziest thing that he's ever done. And I'm very, very here for it, to hear what he had to say. Especially with the fact that he's literally titling them Revolution and what was the other one? I can't remember the other one off of the top of my head, but with everything going on in the world, I can only imagine where he's gonna go with these. I'm so excited for this.
I feel like my escape. So I had to escape music for a moment.
That's okay.
I had to leave. You might have noticed I released less videos this year than ever before. I posted less on social media. I did the most difficult thing that I've ever had to do, and that was take a step back. I went up into the sky and I looked down on everything from 1,000,000 feet, and I just took some time for myself for the first time in 5 years. I don't even remember the last 5 years a lot of the time because I've been working so damn hard. It was a really important moment for me.
That's what it takes to be successful,
I'm
though.
grateful because in that time that I took to reflect on what I've done and look at what other people were doing, I realized that I can do something so much better than all of it. And it made me fall in love with this all over again. And music once again became my escape. The best music comes from your desire to express yourself and your need to be heard and understood and your love of the music, not your willingness to do your job. I look at life like a staircase. You always have to be wanting to take that next step up and never take a step down. And once in a while, the staircase leads to a door, and you never know what's on the other side of that door. Maybe it's the success that you've been chasing after. Maybe it's tough times. Maybe it's just another staircase, who knows? Maybe the door won't even open. And if that's the case, you have to kick it down. It's scary and it's dangerous and it's hard not knowing what you're walking into, but you have to do it. And I am so grateful that I kicked that door down, because on the other side of it, today I invite you to walk through that door with me.
Renegade is the other one.
Experience what almost killed me to create. My 2 new albums, Renegade and The Revolution, are out now, only at hangovergang.com. If you want mass-produced pop culture garbage, you'll find that at Walmart or on streaming platforms. But if you want a real piece of counterculture that you can hold in your hands, you found it. Welcome to the black market. I love you all so much.
We love you too.
Thank you all so much. Thank you for riding this out with me. I'm sorry I'm late, but it almost didn't happen at all.
You're good.
And it wouldn't have happened without you guys. I love you. I thank you so much. It's Hangover Gang forever. I'm sorry I cried like a little baby so many times. Grab your 2 new albums, hangovergang.com. Peace.
You know, seeing the tears come from his eyes throughout this, it just shows you how much he really does care about what he's doing and the movement that he's creating with his music. And, I mean, Tom, we love you too. And we thank you for taking the time to do this. Like, this is wild. This is something that nobody else is going to do. And we greatly appreciate the fact that you were willing to take the time out of your life to do this. For those of you all who haven't watched this already, I hope you did enjoy it. For those of you all who did watch it anyways and decided to come in and tune into my reaction, thank you very much. I really do hope he takes some time for some mental health throughout this, but I'm just very, very excited to hear what he had to put into this, because with how he's talking about this, the feelings that he's giving for this is going to be something that nobody's really expecting. And I'm glad to hear that he took the time to find the love to do it again. But I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next video. Peace.